Mabuhay! Welcome to my YouTube channel, Ako Canada, Filipino Footprints in Canadian Snow, your go-to hub for all things related to immigration pathways from the Philippines to the Great White North Canada. I'm thrilled to be your guide on this exciting journey towards a new life in Canada. As a Filipino myself, I understand the dreams and aspirations many of us share for a brighter future, and that's exactly what this channel is all about. Whether you're dreaming of reuniting with family, pursuing higher education, or seeking better career opportunities, I've got you covered with comprehensive insights and advice. In this channel, we'll delve into the intricacies of various immigration programs, breaking down the processes and requirements to make your transition as smooth as possible. Expect in-depth discussions on different immigration pathways. Don't worry if you're just starting to explore your options. I'll walk you through the basics and help you understand the key steps involved. Stay tuned for regular updates on policy changes, visa updates, immigration success stories, and other important news on Canada immigration. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on valuable information. Get ready to embark on this exciting journey together from the warm shores of the Philippines to the welcoming embrace of Canada. Before I proceed, I just wanted to remind everybody that this presentation is intended for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. The content of this presentation is based on public information and general knowledge, and I am not an immigration lawyer or an official immigration advisor. While efforts have been made to ensure the accuracy of the information presented, immigration policies and processes may change. Therefore, it is important to verify details from official government sources or seek guidance from licensed immigration professionals for the latest and accurate information. So today, ang title ng aking presentation is Study in Canada, Comprehensive Guide to Canadian Student Permit Application, Navigating the Path to Educational Excellence in Canada. Studying in Canada offers numerous benefits for would-be immigrants, making it an attractive destination for international students. Ilan sa mga dahilan kung bakit ang mga interested immigrants may choose to study in Canada is first, the quality of education. Canada is home to world-class educational institutions known for their high academic standards and rigorous quality assurance. Degrees earned in Canada are recognized globally, which is very important dahil saan ka man pumunta, marami kang prospects for career opportunities. Another important reason ay yung work opportunities during and after studies. Canada allows international students to work part-time during their studies and provides opportunities for post-graduation work permits, of course under certain conditions, and these are the things that I'll be discussing a lot more in the succeeding sections of this presentation. These allow immigrants to gain valuable Canadian work experience and potentially transition to permanent residency, which I think is one of the reasons for studying in Canada, yung pathway to permanent residency. Canada has immigration pathways specifically designed for international students. Programs like post-graduation work permit and the express entry system make it easier for immigrants to transition from student status to permanent residency. Isa sa pinaka-popular na paraan para sa mga Pilipino na gustong mag-migrate sa Canada ay ang student pathway. According sa Apply Insights na na-publish noong June 2023, ang Philippines ay pangalawa sa pinakamalaking pinagmulan ng mga international students para sa Canada noong 2022. Halos 24,000 ng mga Pilipino ang naaprubahan para mag-aral sa Canada noong nakaraang taon, na tumaas mula sa 13,000 noong 2021 at 5,000 lang noong 2019. Kung pagbabasihan natin ang required period of time para makapunta sa Canada, isang student pathway sa pinakamabilis na paraan para makapag-migrate sa Canada. In recent years, there has been a notable surge in the number of Filipino students choosing Canada as their preferred destination for higher education. According sa data ng IRCC, in 2022, new study permit application for Filipino students reached nearly 35,000, which is a 69% increase kumpara noong 2021. I'm sure this trend is going to continue in the coming years. Just recently, nagkaroon ng malaking changes sa student pathway. Si Minister Mark Miller ng IRCC just recently announced na magkakaroon ng daw ng cap sa number of student permit application this year 2024. Sinabi niya na the cap is expected to result in approximately 360,000 approved study permits, a decrease of 35% from 2023. Sinabi rin niya na in the spirit of fairness, individual provincial and territorial caps have been established weighted by their population. Study permit renewals will not be impacted. Those pursuing master's and doctoral degrees and elementary and secondary education are not included in the cap. Current study permit holders will also not be affected. Dinagdag niya na in recent years, the integrity of the international student system has been threatened. Some institutions have significantly increased their intakes to drive revenues, and more students have been arriving in Canada without the proper supports they need to succeed. Rapid increases in the number of international students arriving in Canada also puts pressure on housing, healthcare, and other services. Sinabi niya na as we work together to better protect international students from bad actors and support sustainable population growth in Canada, the government is moving forward with measures to stabilize the number of international students in Canada.
It's unacceptable that some private institutions have taken advantage of international students by operating under-resourced campuses, lacking supports for students, and charging high tuition fees, all the while significantly increasing their intake of international students. Today, I am announcing 3 principal measures. 1, a temporary 2-year cap on new international student permits. It is the latest in a series of measures to improve program integrity and set international students up for the success in order to maintain a sustainable level of temporary residence in Canada as well. To ensure that there is no further growth in the number of international students in Canada for 2024, we are setting a national application intake cap for a period of 2 years. For 2024, the cap is expected to result in approximately 364,000 approved study permits, a decrease of 35% from 2023. In the spirit of fairness, we are also allocating the cap space by province based on population, such as that some provinces will see much more significant reductions. We'll continue to work closely with those provinces and territories to put these measures into place, as they will be responsible for determining how the cap is distributed between its designated learning institutions that they have jurisdiction over. I've had productive conversations in particular with British Columbia and Ontario already, and we all recognize that more needs to be done to protect the integrity of our system while supporting international.
As a result of these changes, IRCC will allocate a portion of the cap to each province and territory, who will then distribute the allocation among their designated learning institutions. To implement the cap as of January 22, 2024, every study permit application submitted to IRCC will also require an attestation letter from province or territory. Provinces and territories are expected to establish a process for issuing attestation letters to students by no later than March 31, 2024. These temporary measures will be in place for 2 years, and the number of new study permit applications that will be accepted in 2025 will be reassessed at the end of this year. During this period, the Government of Canada will continue to work with provinces and territories, designated learning institutions, and national education stakeholders on developing a sustainable path forward for international students, including finalizing a recognized institutional work, determining long-term sustainable levels of international students, and ensuring post-secondary institutions are able to provide adequate levels of student housing. Taking aside these changes, let me now continue on by discussing the process of applying for a study permit application. In Canada, there are 2 main streams for study permit applications: the General Study Permit Stream and the Student Direct Stream or SDS. Under the General Study Permit Stream, applicants go through the regular study permit application process. This involves submitting the required documents such as an acceptance letter from a Canadian Designated Learning Institution or DLI, proof of financial support, and evidence of ties to their home country. I-discuss ko later yung mga requirements under both streams. The processing time for general study permit application can vary, and applicants are typically required to undergo a medical examination and in some cases an interview. This stream is open to all students from all countries of the world. On the other hand, the student direct stream is a faster and more streamlined process for study permit applications, primarily designed for students from certain countries. To qualify for the SDS, applicants must meet specific criteria. Applicants under the SDS stream requires higher language proficiency than the regular stream. They need an IELTS score of at least 6 in each communication skill: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. At least 7 for French using the Test d'Evaluation de François or TEF. And finally, applicants must provide a Guaranteed Investment Certificate or GRC of at least 20,635 Canadian dollars or higher. This minimum amount is actually new. Nag-start lang siya this year, last January 1st. For a long time, it was only 10,000 Canadian dollars. Tumaas na siya kasi siyempre tumaas na rin yung cost of living sa Canada through the years, lalo na recently. Also, yung previous na amount has not been updated since early 2000 pa. Anyway, isa sa mga key advantages of the SDS is its faster processing time. Typically, applications processed through the SDS are expedited, allowing students to receive their study permit more quickly. Currently, yung application sa SDS is available to students from the Philippines, China, India, Pakistan, Senegal, Morocco, and Vietnam. This stream is a really good opportunity for interested Filipino applicants so they can have their study permit applications fast-tracked, of course provided that they meet a series of qualifying criteria. The eligibility requirements for a study permit include academic requirements, financial proof or capacity, security clearance, and health clearance. Sa mga susunod na slides, iisa-isahin natin kung ano yung mga components ng bawat isa sa mga ito. First, yung academic requirements. The academic requirements for obtaining a student permit in Canada can vary depending on the level of study, either undergraduate or graduate, and the specific requirements of the designated learning institution where you have been accepted to study. However, here are some general academic requirements. Una, yung letter of acceptance. Applicants must have an acceptance letter from a Canadian DLI. The letter should outline details about the program of the study, the start date, and any conditions that need to be met. Second, yung educational credentials. Applicants need to provide proof of their previous education. These typically include transcripts, diplomas, certificates, or degrees from secondary school like high school and or post-secondary education, depending on the level of the intended program. Pangatlo is yung language proficiency. Proficiency in English or French is crucial. Depending on the program and the institution, applicants may need to provide evidence of language proficiency through standards tests such as IELTS, TOEFL, TEF for French or others. Very important din na kung yung mga documents mo which are not in English or French, mahalaga na these documents are translated in either English or French. For French, of course, if you're studying in Quebec, and it might be required to provide certified translations of these documents. Na-mention ko earlier yung designated learning institutions or DLIs. DLIs are educational institutions in Canada that are approved by provincial or territorial authorities to host international students. In order for international students to apply for a study permit in Canada, they must have an acceptance letter from a designated learning institution. To ensure that the institution, college, university you are applying for is a legitimate and recognized DLI in Canada, here are the general steps to find the DLI list. First, visit the IRCC website. Navigate to the study section. There, you can look for the section related to studying in Canada. This section may include information for international students, study permits, and related topics. Then, find the designated learning institutions or DLI list. Within the study-related section, there should be information about designated learning institutions. look for a link or section that provides access to the DLI list. And then you can search for specific DLIs. You can typically search for specific DLIs by name, province, or other criteria. Each DLI is assigned a unique DLI number. You can find the institution you are interested in. Take note of its DLI number as you need it for your application. This allows you to confirm whether the institution you are interested in is recognized by the Canadian government. So here is what it should look like when you go to the IRCC website. You have here yung master list ng mga designated educational institution in the different provinces and territories sa Canada. You can click on each one of these depending kung saan part ng Canada gusto nyong mag-aral. Gaya ng nabanggit ko earlier, each institution has its assigned 4-digit educational institution code and their name and address. Again, take note of its DLI number as you need it for your application. Sa pag-a-apply ng study permit sa Canada, mahalaga ang financial requirement upang matiyak na may sapat na pondo ang applicant para sa kanilang education at pamumuhay sa Canada. Narito yung mga requirements to show yung financial capability ng isang applicant. Provide recent bank statements that show your financial transactions and balances. The statement should cover a specified period and the funds should be readily available for your use. You must provide proof that you have paid the tuition fees for your first year of study. This proof is often in the form of an official letter from the educational institution confirming your payment. Na-mention ko rin earlier yung Guaranteed Investment Certificate or GIC. A GIC is a special savings account in Canada that provides a fixed interest rate over a specific period. It is often used as a proof of financial capacity for international students. If you are being financially supported by someone else, such as family member or a sponsor, or kung may nakuha kang scholarships, you may need to submit a letter from them stating their commitment to supporting you financially. Yung mga sponsors may also need to provide their bank statements and other relevant financial documents. I mentioned earlier yung changes of proof of funds for international student applications. Last December 7, 2023, the IRCC announced that starting January 1, 2024, the cost of living financial requirement for study permit applicants will be raised so that international students are financially prepared for life in Canada. Inannounced rin na moving forward, this threshold will be adjusted each year when Statistics Canada updates the low income cutoff o yung tinatawag nila na LICO, which basically represents the minimum income necessary to ensure that an individual does not have to spend a greater than average portion of income on necessities. For everyone's information, the cost of living requirement for study permit applicants has not changed since the early 2000 pa, when it was set at 10,000 for a single applicant. Dahil dito, the financial requirement hasn't kept up with the cost of living over time, resulting in students arriving in Canada only to learn that their funds aren't adequate. Kaya ito, for 2024, a single applicant will need to show they have $20,635, representing 75% of LICO, in addition to their first year of tuition and travel costs. This change will apply to new study permit applications received on or after January 1, 2024. You will see here yung outline ng minimum funds requirement for 2024. Before January 1, the required proof of fund for student applicants is 10,000 Canadian dollars, but now it was changed to $20,635. Before, the funds required per month is $833, but now it has increased to $1,719.60. I just wanted to note that there are separate requirements in place for students who wish to attend one of the many universities and colleges in Quebec. In almost all cases, individuals who wish to study in Quebec also need to apply for and obtain a Quebec Acceptance Certificate o yung tinatawag na CAQ before they can apply for a study permit. This entails additional fees and processing times compared to the regular Canadian student visa processing times. The CAQ is generally valid for the duration of the study program, up to a maximum of 49 months or a little over than 4 years. So it's a little bit different kung gusto niyo mag-apply for a study permit sa Quebec. If you need more information, please feel free to message me sa comment section and I'll be happy to get the information you needed. Here are common documents that can serve as proof of financial support. Canada Visa Office will accept any of the following documents as a show of proof of sufficient funds or financial support. First, evidence of bank account in Canada that's in your name with enough funds if money has been transferred to Canada from your country. Second, proof of valid educational student loan from a financial institution. Third, your bank account statements for the past 6 months. Fourth, a bank draft that can be converted to Canadian dollars. Fifth, proof of payment of tuition and accommodation fees. Sixth, a letter from your sponsor or institution providing you with a scholarship or funding. 7. Proof of funding paid from within Canada if you are in Canadian-funded educational program or have a scholarship. And 8. Those applying through the Student Direct Stream must secure a Guaranteed Investment Certificate or GIC, a secure investment bank account where students deposit money and earn interest over time. It's important to note that the specific requirements for proof of financial support may vary depending on the country of residence and the Canadian Visa Office processing the application. Applicants should carefully review the guidelines provided by the IRCC and the Canadian Visa Office responsible for their application for the most accurate and up-to-date information. Health clearances are an essential aspect of the study permit application process for international students planning to study in Canada. Here are key points regarding health clearances. Una is yung medical examination requirement. In many cases, applicants for a study permit in Canada are required to undergo a medical examination. This requirement applies to individuals intending to study in Canada for more than 6 months. The examination is conducted by a panel physician approved by the Canadian government. Panel physicians are medical professionals authorized by the Canadian government conduct immigration medical examinations. The list of panel physicians is provided by IRCC and can be found on the official website. The medical exam typically include tests for tuberculosis, HIV, and other medical conditions. The medical examination is typically valid for 12 months. This means that applicants must ensure that they complete the examination close to the time of their study permit application submission. Next is health insurance. Canada requires all international students to have health insurance. Some provinces have mandatory health insurance plans, while others may allow you to choose private insurance. Paalala lang ulit, it is essential for applicants to review the specific health clearance requirements outlined by IRCC and follow the guidelines provided. Failure to undergo the required medical examination, when applicable, may result in delays or denials in the study permit application process. It is very important to remember that the Government of Canada does not pay for the medical costs of international students. Magkakaiba ang health coverage for international students depending on where you live. The institutions where you're going to study would normally provide information on where you can get healthcare coverage or insurance. So it's very important to check with the institution kung saan kayo designated mag-aral regarding health coverage and insurance. Regarding security clearances, the requirements are security background check. All study permit applicants are subject to background check to assess factors such as criminal history and potential security risks. Criminal record. Applicants are also required to provide information about their criminal history if any. Normally sa mga Filipino applicants, nagpo-provide tayo ng NBI clearance certificate for example. And finally, biometrics. Most study permit applicants are required to provide biometric information as part of their application. Applicants need to schedule a biometric appointment at a Visa Application Center or VAC. Normally, in-specify naman ng Immigration Canada yung mga Visa Application Center kung saan tayo pwedeng magpa-biometrics. The biometrics are usually collected after the submission of the study permit application and payment of the biometric fee. Dahil na nasabi ko na, sa ating mga Pilipino, we satisfy the requirement on criminal record by getting an NBI clearance certificate. Of course, it's very important that our NBI clearance will show no criminal record or no pending criminal case. Just to re-emphasize, gaya ng nabanggit ko kanina, our biometrics are collected at a Visa Application Center, VAC, or an Application Support Center, ASC. This is depending on your location. Medical examinations must be conducted by panel physicians approved by IRCC. The medical examination results are generally valid for 12 months. Now, let's dive into the application process. For the application process, here are the list of the documents to prepare. Passport or travel document, proof of acceptance from the DLI, proof of funds or proof of financial support, proof of language proficiency, academic transcripts and diplomas, medical examination results if required, and finally, police clearance. Once all the required documents are in place, the next step is to create an online account. You can set up an online account on the IRCC website, fill up the application form, complete the online study permit application form, then you can upload your documents, scan and upload all required documents to your online application. You have to ensure the documents are clear, complete, and able to meet the specified formats. You can then pay the application fee. The non-refundable application fee online is $150 Canadian and keep the payment receipt for your records. Then you have to submit your application package. You can check the IRCC website for processing times as well as the status of your application. Once the application for the student permit application has been approved, a letter of introduction will be issued. It is not the study permit itself, but is an important document that the applicant will need to complete the process of obtaining the actual study permit upon arrival in Canada. The letter of introduction or LOI includes crucial information such as the permit's reference number, the applicant's name, date of birth, and details about the designated learning institution and the approved study program. Applicants are required to present the letter of introduction upon arrival at the Canadian port of entry, either airport or border crossing. It serves as an evidence that the study permit has been approved and facilitates the issuance of the actual study permit. Upon satisfactory verification, the immigration officer will issue your actual study permit. Importante na alam natin na while the letter of introduction facilitates entry to Canada, the study permit itself is what allows the student to legally study and remain in the country for the duration of their academic program. A temporary resident visa or TRV or electronic travel authorization or ETA, depending on the country of origin, will also be granted with the LOI. Philippines is not on the list of visa-exempt countries for entry into Canada and therefore will be required to have a TRV or temporary resident visa. Filipinos who have U.S. non-immigrant visa or held a Canada visitor visa in the last 10 years are eligible to apply for ETA, but only for visits lasting up to 90 days such as tourism, medical business, or transit. As I mentioned sa aking introduction, one of the beauties in choosing Canada to study is that international students in Canada are generally allowed to work during their studies, provided they meet certain conditions and obtain the necessary authorization. The work opportunities for international students are designed to help them gain valuable Canadian work experience and contribute to their finances while studying. Here are the key aspects related to working in Canada as a student: on-campus work, off-campus work, and finally co-op and internship programs. So what is on-campus work? International students with a valid study permit are generally eligible to work on campus without a separate work permit. While classes are in session, students can work part-time up to 20 hours per week. During scheduled breaks, such as winter and summer holidays, students can work full-time. So what is off-campus work? To work off-campus, students need to apply for an off-campus work permit, which is an amendment to the study permit. Starting from November 15, 2022, international students are allowed to work more than 20 hours per week. As an important update on the off-campus work permit, Minister Mark Miller indicated that the waiver on the 20-hour per week limit on the number of hours international students are allowed to work off-campus, which was set to expire at the end of last year, will be extended to April 30, 2024. International students already in Canada, as well as applicants who have already submitted an application for a study permit as of December 7, 2023, will be able to work off-campus more than 20 hours per week until that time. So overall, this is great news for international students, allowing them to work off-campus full-time until April 30, 2024. Again, there are some changes on the spouse's open work permit. From now on, open work permits will only be available to spouses of international students in master's and doctoral programs. The spouses of international students in other levels of study, including undergraduate and college programs, will no longer be eligible. After finishing your study program, Canada Immigration also offers the Post-Graduation Work Permit or PGWP. Unlike some work permits, it's very important to note that the PGWP does not require graduates to have a job offer in Canada before applying. Graduates are eligible to work for any employer in Canada. During the validity of the PGWP, graduates can work in Canada and gain valuable Canadian work experience. This experience can contribute to their eligibility for permanent residency through various immigration pathways. Again, recently, there are some changes that happen in the post-graduation work permit program. Starting September 1, 2024, international students who begin a study program that is part of a curriculum licensing arrangement will no longer be eligible for a post-graduation work permit upon graduation. Under the curriculum licensing agreements, students physically attend a private college that has been licensed to deliver the curriculum of an associated public college. These programs have seen significant growth in attracting international students in recent years, though they have less oversight than public colleges, and they act as a loophole with regards to post-graduation work permit eligibility. Graduates of master's and other short graduate level programs will soon be eligible to apply for a 3-year work permit. Under current criteria, the length of a post-graduation work permit is based solely on the length of an individual study program, hindering master's graduates by limiting the amount of time they have to gain work experience and potentially transition to permanent residence.
Après l'obtention du diplôme. To repeat, as of September 1st of this year, postgraduate work permits will no longer be available to public-private institution models. Thirdly, in the coming weeks, we'll be announcing that open work permits will only be allowed and be available to spouses of international students enrolled in master's and doctoral programs, as well as professional programs such as medicine and law. Spouses of international students enrolled in other levels of study, including undergraduate and college programs, will no longer be eligible. To be clear, the cap will not apply to applicants within Canada looking to extend their studies, as it wouldn't be fair to prevent someone from finishing the program, nor will the cap have an effect on study permit holders currently in Canada. These temporary measures will be in place for 2 years, and the number of new study permit applications that will be accepted in 2025 will be reassessed at the end of this year.
The experience gained through the PGWP can contribute on individuals' eligibility for permanent residency through programs like the Express Entry System, provincial nominee programs, or other immigration streams. As a summary, here are the 10 easy steps to apply for a student visa. Select a course, apply to a university, receive the offer letter, pay the tuition fee and receive the fee receipt, receive the letter of acceptance, apply for GIC or the Guaranteed Investment Certificate, schedule the medical examination, prepare for visa filing, biometrics appointment and interview, and then finally, the visa outcome. In conclusion, the pathway to studying in Canada through a student permit is a well-structured process that offers international students the opportunity to pursue high-quality education in a diverse and welcoming environment. Aspiring Filipino students should carefully navigate the application process, meeting eligibility criteria, and submitting required documents. Moreover, the flexibility of the study permit extends beyond the classroom, allowing students to explore work opportunities on and off campus, gain valuable Canadian work experience through co-op and internship programs, and potentially transition to permanent residency through post-graduation work opportunities. Thank you for joining me on this exploration, and I wish you the very best on your journey ahead. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay up to date on all of our future content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and share it with your friends. Ring the notification bell so you'll never miss out on the latest updates. We love hearing from you, so drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to have you with us on this incredible journey. Until next time, stay awesome and take care.